Halo teman-teman, jumpa lagi dengan saya Window Putra Sanjay Simbolon. Pada kesempatan kali ini, kita akan membahas atau mereview salah satu tokoh etnografi dunia yang terkenal beserta karyanya, yaitu Margaret Mead dengan karya yang berjudul Coming of Age in Samoa. Enjoy the video!
First civil rights march on Washington, in which there was no violence, was well presented by television, and people all over the country participated in it. It isn't always true.
What about the moratorium in Washington where both sides were covered?
Well, just the same, all the sort of summary statements stressed violence rather than the peacefulness in the end. And they kept saying for weeks in advance there's probably going to be violence and playing up the violent points when the organizers of the march were trying very hard to make it peaceful.
Although there was Justice Department activation for the violence. Now, are you saying that television created the violence?
No, though it does sometimes. We have a fair number of incidents where nothing's happening and the camera says, for goodness sake, boys, get something moving here. And there are more accusations in Britain than there are here against television for creating incidents. But my main point here would be that they give disproportionate weight to them in the cutting. I'm not at all sure that this is shooting necessarily, but it's in the cutting and cutting for shows when you just have so much time. You sound like a defender of television here. You're a knight in white armor defending television at this moment.
I'm just asking you what your criticisms are and how you can justify them.
Well, we've seen all over the country. One of the very striking things were cuts that were used from Woodstock, cut in with Young Americans for Freedom, in which they just took very highly selected bits from Woodstock and stuck them in. When you do cross-cutting, then there's the point of editing, where we lose the advantage of on-the-spot news, which I think is the most important thing in the world about television, that you can see a thing as it really happens, you know. If we hadn't landed on the moon, we wouldn't have been able to lie about it, because the cameras were all there, ready. And this is the very important thing about television, and I'd like to see it use it as much as possible.
Dr. Mead, how do you assess President Nixon's statement?
Dr. Mead, several advocating everything from equality in employment to banning beauty pageants and certain types of ladies' undergarments. As an advocate for women's rights, at what point do these demands reach the ridiculous?
Well, I think they've reached the ridiculous in some cases now. I think we better have a men's liberation movement, too. You know, it could have a lot of points also. It could rebel against cosmetics for men. It could rebel against insisting on men's sex appeal in connection with hats. It could rebel about the kind of thing where you see a man sitting on a carpet looking up goggle-eyed into the face of a woman who wants to buy it. There are plenty of things that could be done, rebelled against by men, that are very much like the things that are being rebelled against by women.
This sounds like something that might be discussed in a militant women's organization, the comment you just made in regards to...
I doubt it. You see, because the very militant women's organizations are not feeling very compassionate towards men at the moment. At least so it is reported. But I'm sorry for men, too. I think every time a woman is exploited, a man is usually exploited, too.
Iri, bilang bos.